So there's three different kinds of maps. There's custom, geographic, and topological. So the geographic map is the simplest map. This is going to show you a geographic representation of your sites based on the locations that you've provided. So if I go administration grouping site, you can actually set an address or a city and a state for these devices. And when you do that, we'll attempt to geocode that automatically, or you can put in manual coordinates, and that's what will be used on the geographic map. If I specify a site that is connected to this site, for example, I say this site, let's say this site is connected to Dallas, and I save that change. When I go to the geographic map, it'll draw lines between those different locations. So now I can see Dallas and Austin are now connected that way. Now, if I'm an administrator, I'll have an edit button up here. And if I click that edit button, it'll allow me to change a few things. I can change the theme of the map. So I can change the color scheme and what it looks like. But I can also go in here and I can click on a connection. So you see this one is red because it doesn't have a threshold set. If I click that device, what it's going to do is it's going to let me pick any device on either side of that connection. And it's going to let me pick any stat that I have a threshold set for on that device. So if I want that line to represent the status of my bandwidth between these two sites, I can save that connection property. And now whenever I look at that map, hit save the map. And when I view the map, the status of this line is the same as the status of that threshold. So it basically gives me a way to reflect that accurately on the geographic maps. Now, the custom maps are a little bit more complicated because the custom maps allow you to upload your own background image and then edit the contents of that image to put data on top of it. So for example, in this case, my map has invalid data on it because I haven't defined, for example, this pin isn't assigned to a particular device. So I would need to change that. And any pin on a custom map can represent a device, a strategic group, or an entire site. So if I'm going to pick an individual device, I could pick, for example, a switch and hit save, and it's going to link that device to that particular location on the map. So now when I view the map, like I'm going to go through here and I'm going to clear up some of these old pins. So custom maps take a little bit more administrative overhead, obviously, than the geographic map because they're not automatically generated. But if I want to add new devices to the map, I just have to basically click anywhere, and it'll add a pin that I can then click on and configure. So I can link this to a device or a strategic group, for example. Let's say I'm going to link that to that device. And now let's say I want to draw a line from this device to that device. I would click on the pin again, and there's a connected to I can edit here. I can hit add connection and pick another device on the map to link it to, and then define how I want to draw the line, if I want to put a label on the line, and if I want to have that linked to a particular stat on either of those systems, I can easily do that. And I hit create. It'll create that link between those devices and render that on the map. So now I can see I've got a link there, and that's represented by that particular threshold. When I'm done, I click save, and then I can view that map. And whenever I pull this map up, it's going to have the actual device settings there. And if I click on it, it's going to take me through there. This is actually a whole site that's been added to this map, but the site was removed. And then this one, this is a strategic group, and I can see that that's operational. So if I click on that, it'll take me to the strategic group in question. So you can click through those maps easily. Now, the topological map is designed based on the parenting data. So when you drill into the topology map, it's going to show you, for example, that this device is the parents of these devices. And you can continue to drill down until you see individual devices, at which point you can jump to their dashboard and it'll show you who's connected to them. And this basically is the parent of both of these devices. So if this guy goes down, these are the two devices that are expected to become unreachable as a result of that outage. You can set multiple parents for a device. So if you have redundant links or redundant backup connections between systems, you can add those as extra parents, and then OmniCenter will do intelligent processing to say, only suppress the alarm for a remote site if all of its parents are also unreachable. Otherwise, something's wrong with your redundancy and you'll want to get that alarm.